Morning, morning, morning. Welcome to the Texas Real Estate Show. And here we are on this bright and breezy Thursday morning. And we're reporting into everybody about the local housing market here in Houston and Texas and, nationally as well. We're always looking forward to get your opinions. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Any comments, please, check into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And here I've got with my good friend Chase from Lone Star Premier Mortgage. How you doing, Jace?
I'm great. How are you?
You had a good week?
It's been busy this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Applications are up.
Yes, actually, very much. And we're getting
I
a lot
feel
of,
it's like summer. Here
yeah.
we go.
Well, it's a W-2
We're
year.
on a roll.
Everyone's getting a W-2 now. They're rich. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I feel it as well. We've started to get some, closings are on the up. We've actually got some new agents that have started and, from other companies, and they've sort of started and joined us, and it's been nice. We've welcomed them on board, and we're looking forward to doing some business with them this year.
That's awesome.
So, it's always a plus. But anyway, I thought I'd pull this article up that came in from Houston Agent Magazine, and what it basically does, it pulls up only 38% of Houston households could afford a median priced home at the end of 2023. Um, the median price in Houston declined 0.4%
That's not bad.
to 336,000 during the fourth quarter, while the monthly mortgage payment rose to $2,460, up from 2,350 a year ago. Meanwhile, the average interest rate hit a 20-year high to 7.3%, up from 6.6% during the same time in 2022. This means Houston households needed 4.7 more income annually to afford a median priced home. Now, my opinion on that is you the interest rates were so deflated and they wasn't true interest rates that it takes time to recover from that. Do you feel so? Because I mean,
100%.
2 to 3% on a mortgage, it's just
What is it?
unrealistic, and that's what's
$75 per 100 grand, something like
yeah, and that's what's caused the problem. Now we've got, you know, all it done was push up the house indirectly. What it done was push up the house prices because it's a 2 and a 3% mortgage, and then it causes an inventory problem because why should I sell my house when I'm going from a 2% mortgage rate into a 7% mortgage rate? It just makes, no sense. So the only people that are really selling their homes are people that are downsizing and pulling inventory out of the property. But even then, why would you do that? You take it as a rental property. And that's why there's people out there at the moment that have, increased the number of rental properties that they have,
that.
which makes it limited inventory for first time home buyers to get out there and purchase the home. And it was interesting. We had a debate, if you want to, in our office that got a little bit heated on Monday because we were sort of saying, well, how can you make homes affordable? And it's like, one, the market determines the price of the homes, and another member of our office basically said, but I can't afford to buy a home, you know, unless I get X amount of wage increase to purchase the home. And then another member of staff turned around and said, well, you know, I was a single mom and, I managed to make it happen, and it's sort of how you live your life and your lifestyle that you do.
Maybe some of them should be driving a Civic instead of trying to get a Cadillac.
Well, and that's sort of what one of my agents sort of said, um, I've been there, done that, lived amongst my, my means, and people laugh at me driving my little Kia Sportage. But since I've done that, I've managed to, do a lot more. And it was funny because we all laugh at Kay a little bit because she gets Uber everywhere and she doesn't bother with a car. She doesn't bother with,
She
but
can't
the
drive.
truth of the matter is, I, I'm looking at retirement in my future years and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I think I might just do Uber.
Also, it's so
It's
much
Uber.
cheaper
Uber.
There you go.
Uber.
if I don't leave my house. I only leave my house to come here and to go to work, really. So It's not like I'm out partying and stuff like that, right? So.
She's actually out.
Well, it
partying a
wasn't
lot.
when you
She's a
called
rock
me at
star.
3 o'clock in the morning because
Yeah,
you
I
lost your
was
key
gonna
the other day.
This rock star over
Sunday
here,
morning at 3 o'clock in the morning.
asking for like another.
When she
Uber
lost
ride.
her key, she was
Oh,
probably, yeah.
God.
But
Good old Kate.
but it's interesting to see, so the median household price is 336,000 in the Houston area at the moment. And what's interesting about, if we go through this, there was one article that I thought was really good, which is the positive outlook for Houston and residential housing market. Can you pull that okay? And what it basically says is, nationally, interest rates have gone up. They're currently 6.69% on interest rates. A year ago, they were 6.13. Pending home sales currently is 77.3, and pending home sales a year ago was 76.3. So, that's up a little bit there. That means that the market's moving. Builder confidence has gone up to 44%. Unemployment, basically nationally has gone from 3.7% and it's gone down. A year ago it was 3.5 and it's gone up now to 3.7. Locally in Houston, we're actually faring very well because unemployment a year ago was 3.9%. We're down to 3.8%. They've started housing, a year ago was 4,223. It's currently 4,285. So there's more housing. There's going to be more inventory available. Existing home prices, existing home sales a year ago was 6,800. Currently existing home sales are 6,514. That's a negative, which means that then prices could start to go up again. Housing inventory in general, is a year ago was 33,394. It's currently 38,028. So that's a plus, which means there's more inventory out there, a little bit more competition. And days on market, it's gone down from a year ago, it was 57 days on market, and it's gone down to 56 days on market. So really, the Houston market's doing pretty good. Applications are up. I do feel that we've seen a slow and steady increase in what's going on out there. It's been pretty active, to be perfectly honest, and I hope it continues to be that. I do think that we could be in for a good summer. I have seen recently I've seen a lot of people that are downsizing. Maybe they're retiring, they want to go to community living, they want to go to over 55 community living, and they want to sell their houses. I've had a couple of appointments this week with people that are looking at selling their homes. They need a fair bit of work, but that's it. You got any comments on what you feel the Houston market's done from a loan point of view there, Chase?
We're busy right now. This is actually one of our little bubbles where everyone's getting their tax returns back. So our applications are actually steady coming through. We're still averaging a little more credit pulls per week than we were last year. So that's a good sign. Usually, we got to pull the credit before we can actually get the pre-approval out there. A lot of people will get out there and start shopping, but I would say half won't close till summer right now. Just because of usually the ones that are waiting on their W-2, we have to fix some things, walk them through the steps of the process to get approval, and then they can get out there shopping. But right now is the time to get ahead of yourself and start getting that pre-approval done. That way, once summer or spring break and kids are out of school and you want to make that transition, there's no real hiccups, or bumps in the road, as you could say. But yeah, I would say if you're looking to buy a home in the next 12 months, let's just see where you are. Worst case scenario, you get a plan and a path of approval, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, and that's not a secret, but it's just a good way to approach it, by going out there and getting approved for a loan, because you don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste anybody's time. So then I've always explained to people, it's a little bit like going to your favorite store to shop, and if you don't know what's in your pocket to spend, then how can you go shopping? And quite honestly, you're better off getting approved, so you know how much you can spend and you make it affordable.
I
And
mean,
that way
do
you
you
can go.
take anybody shopping without a pre-approval to go look at homes?
It depends, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It depends. Um, if I've worked with them before and they are somebody that I know has purchased with me,
There's no issues with the
and
finance side.
like an investor, for instance, that
Yeah.
might own multiple properties, then I have no problem with that at all. Um, but if it's a first-time home buyer, I will always make a recommendation that they go out there and get pre-approved. If they don't get pre-approved, what I'll normally say to them is, if you sign a buyer's rep with me, then what I'll do is I'll show you properties once.
Hmm.
But after that, then
No must.
no. Because, I like to be fair with people. I like to be honest with people. I like to show people what service I offer and what benefits I offer. And you'll get some people that'll turn around and they'll use 3 or 4 agents to go out there and to see what service they offer.
Hmm.
Um,
How does it separate you from all the others?
right, correct. So, that becomes
Well, what I want you to do is start sending them all to me on the way to the property. If they're not pre-approved, I'll have it done before you walk in the door.
right.
Because that's the best way. It only takes most of the income documents. Once you click yes and yes, I can actually download them for you.
Hmm.
So I can have a pre-approval done probably in
Right.
20, 30 minutes.
Right. But one of the issues that you get into, I don't want to lose clients. Um, I'll be honest with you, I find it harder to get people to sign buyer's representation agreements
Nowadays,
than what I do to get loan approval on a property.
when did you see that as being like a change? Because I remember like 10 years ago, we could always get them to sign that.
Well, there's been a lot of bad press recently about real estate agents, which I think has hurt us as agents, and it's hurt the industry. I don't believe people can't understand the concept that the seller pays the the buyer's agent, the selling agent's commission, and people can't even understand that terminology. The selling agent is the buyer's agent.
Mhm.
So it's difficult. Well, why do I have to pay the? Well, because the buyer basically, I mean, I flip properties. I will pay the selling agent or the buyer's agent all day long. I've got a property at the moment where I'm paying them a bonus to
The
sell the
10 grand
property.
one, right? Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So he's giving
to
extra
help.
money to buy the rate down.
And the reason is because, it costs me money each month I have that property. It costs me money. So why not give a new homeowner, a quality homeowner, the opportunity to purchase that house? So, I would rather see that house vacant. I'd rather see it occupied than vacant.
Of course.
So,
Yeah, that's definitely have changed in quite a bit. Like the last 10 years, that has changed quite a bit. How realtors are looked at negatively. Because for like maybe about the last, since 2008, 6, in that range, we were the bad guys the whole time.
mhm.
And in reality, all we did was just offer what banks allow. So, we're gonna keep, doing whatever.
And I think the other part is people think it's easy to come into the business as a real estate agent. Oh, well, it's easy. All you do is fill in forms and da 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 da. But there's a lot more to it than that. We offer more services. Um, it's a very, very challenging business. It can be very stressful. But anyway, that's where we are. So let's get on to the stats for the Houston Association of Realtors. Have you got that? HAR Houston starts for the year. Have you got that, Kay? Can you bring it up?
Mhm.
So here we are in January. We actually completed 5,009 units in the month of January, which, wasn't a great number of units for home sales. But if you looked at the median sort of number across Houston is 8,000, sales a month. And if you look,
Is that in our just area or is that nationwide?
this is Houston.
Okay. That's awesome.
But 8,000 home sales a year, is the sort of median. We can go, we bounce above that and below that. I mean, we go as high as over 10,000 home sales a year. I mean, one year we nearly 11,000, but we're at the start of the year. But if you look at that and you look at the months and the years that, that we've got, I mean, at the moment we're pretty low, but I really feel that this year could be an interesting year. I'm even, thinking about the flip that we've just done is actually even leasing that out, because with what we've got in it.
Well, isn't the rental market really high right now, like as far as the monthly payments?
I could rent.
if you don't really
I
need-
could rent it for $2,000 a month, and that would pay my notes.
And maybe put
And
like
then-
6 months in a little kitty stack just in case someone moves out. You have to fix it,
Mhm.
repair, and put it back on the market.
Yeah, it might be worthwhile just doing that.
Yeah, I feel like that's happening a lot more than we think.
But I'll be honest with you, it goes against my principle, because what I'd like to do is to put, a homeowner in the property, because I feel that's part of the problem. There's too many investors that are buying the properties and indirectly pushing the price up, and it's I would like to put a homeowner in the property.
Of course,
Well,
but
I
these
really
guys are
would
looking
like
at it
to.
as a business, right? So if they can get
Yeah.
more money this way,
Well, it's the national corporations that are buying up a lot of these homes now.
and foreign investors as well.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of like Canadians and Chinese coming in here and doing that quite often. Like I remember in Vegas for a while, there was these two main companies, hedge funds out there that were just buying everything in Vegas. Now I'm assuming they took a serious beating the last 5 years in that. market,
One
but-
of my investors, she owns a couple of houses in Vegas. She lives out in California. She lives in Beverly Hills. And she bought some houses in Las Vegas. And what she's done is she's kept the rents relatively consistent. She does little increases. And her tenants have been with her for 10 years.
That's perfect. That's what you want. Like,
And,
pay off my mortgage.
and she
like,
said
just-
that's just, it's perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's where I think a lot of landlords, because you put your rents up and you end up
outpricing yourself.
you
And
outprice
and you're
yourself,
sitting for 4 months, no renter.
and then what happens is every time you put a new tenant in, you've got to do a make ready, then you've got to pay a real estate agent to rent it out and make sure it's done properly, then you've got to do property checks and everything else. And I really think that you're just better off.
What's your opinion on management companies, especially if you're out of town?
I think you've got to pick wisely. I don't think we manage properties, and I'll be honest with you, there's some management companies, we don't look at them as competition. And I think if you pick your management company on price, and I'll give you an example, there's a management company out there that charge $99 per property per month for you to manage the property.
That's amazing.
Well, it's not amazing
Well,
because
wait,
the
do they
property.
also say if you ever want to sell it, you have to use them as the.
Most property management
Yeah.
companies have something in that, but you just said it's amazing, but there's a lot of little things like, well, we'll charge you X amount of dollars for a renewal of the lease, and when it comes around, they charge you for
Everything.
a percentage of repairs. They ask you to keep X amount of dollars in an escrow account. We don't do that.
So how much you had to put in the escrow account? 1%,
It varies
2%?
with the company. We don't do that. I'll be honest with you. We do it the old-fashioned way. 10% of collected income across the board. We go on quality, and we do not take on every landlord that wants us to manage their properties, because there's some landlords out there that are slum landlords,
Mm.
which is not worth
Your
even the
time
even the
and
t-
energy,
even the
yeah.
10%. We've had to sit landlords down and say, do you know what? This is how you manage your property.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So
So be careful when you're looking for a property. Look at reviews everywhere you can, because yeah, there's a lot ones that are bad.
well, just ask for references. That really is your best.
References and reviews.
Mm, you
Like when
know.
you're going on Amazon and there's like 7 products and the same thing, you always look at reviews. You know, so as long as they keep that pattern. But that's
And I'm
unfortunate. I didn't know that there was that bad of a number, or even that you're actually having to help people that are charging people on how to do their job.
Yeah, I have a friend who they have a property downtown near. I think we talked about it. I was trying to get Steven to be the property manager, but they rent it out to college students. It's by
U of H.
yeah, it's by U of H. So 2 of the units are rented out by college students. The other 2 are used as Airbnbs.
Okay.
The property manager the real estate agent that sold the property to them, um, she wanted to be the property manager for the place. She was trying to charge them um, a percentage of the income that they got. I think she wanted like 30% of all of the income. And once again, this is Airbnb as well. So the Airbnb as well as what the college students are paying. She also wanted to charge, of course, a percentage of the repairs. So if the repair was $300, she wanted to get paid an additional $150 for it.
So half.
Yeah, she wanted half of the repair money.
Like
and
half
and,
up
and
front or
and the
half
idea
at the time?
behind that is, if you need a repair, you've got to go out there first of all with the contractor. It takes time.
Right.
Then afterwards, when it's fixed, you've got to go out there and make sure it's fixed before you pay the contractor, because it's somebody else's money.
So that's time again.
So, you know,
But she also wanted to get paid $100 on top of that for every time she had to do something for the property. Like if she had to
Go out there.
or if she, which is absurd. Because
she's
she was
double dipping.
already getting base paid $2,000.
well,
Her base pay per month. Was
let me tell you
$2,000.
let me tell you the biggest problem with that, and I don't know if you understand this, but on a lease, what happens is there's normally a call out fee,
Mhm.
right? That call out fee, if there's a property manager, all right, will normally go to either the property manager or it will go to the contractor.
Right.
We give that money, all our contractors that we use, all right, we tell them, you're on call. In the event that there's a call out, we will pay that fee to you.
Mhm.
Why do we do that? Because them contractors, a property management company is only as good as its contractors.
Right. But her trying to get paid.
I mean,
amount
you've
of
understood
money-
that. You understood that when we had one contractor that left a toilet in the middle of your room.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
My toilet broke, and he left.
The
And it-
used toilet?
No, it was the new one, but he came and dropped it off.
And she had
crazy.
she had 2 toilets.
I had 2 toilets. He came and dropped it off one day, and then he was like, "My stomach's not agreeing with me. I think I have food poisoning, so I'm gonna have to go home, and I will come back tomorrow." But he didn't come back for the rest of the week, So it was like 4 days. It was in my apartment, but I wish I could have used my bathroom. What if I have food poisoning? What would I have
Well, you have 2 of them. Now you can use whichever one you want.
There you go. Just put a bucket underneath it,
Yeah,
and you would have
yeah.
been away.
Or say, hey, this is your job. You got to clean up after.
Like, I was like,
So-
That's crazy.
It is, but
yeah,
it's but
the woman wanted $5,000 per month to manage the property.
that's
minimum.
one of the reasons
That was
why
a lot.
we have investors that we represent from Canada, California, China, Hong Kong,
All over the
some
world.
from Europe. I mean, yeah, they're all over the world, and it can be challenging, Plus, we do HOA management, which in itself is its own.
Challenge.
I'd put it above a challenge because
Hassle.
you're not dealing with with residential property management. You're dealing with one owner who, you ask what do you want to do about this situation? With HOA management, you've got to go to a board, and in some situations, you've actually got to go to all the owners to get a quorum. So it's a completely different, ball game.
No, I just wanted to.
Is there like you get paid a fee? I'm assuming from the HOA company for you collecting it. Are you the HOA company?
No, HOA is, there's two types of HOA management companies. You get HOA management companies which don't have to be licensed, which upsets me. All right, because how can you ever know what an escrow account is if you're not licensed and you've done property management classes and different things? Or you can get HOAs that are self-managed, and you've got, and that's what I think is so bad, because you hear all this bad publicity about homeowners associations, but not all HOAs are bad. You can hear stories, and you can go online at Google about how a treasurer ran away with $1 million of HOA
I've heard it
money.
1,000 times, yeah.
And you get that, but that's, but the truth of the matter is there's some good HOA companies out there. Homeowners associations and condominiums, there's a storm coming in where it wouldn't surprise me if there's homeowners associations start declaring themselves bankrupt.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because of increases. A lot of people that stay in condominiums, they're normally they're first-time home buyers originally, and they bought them thinking, well, the homeowners association fees will take care of my insurance and different things. It might take care of cable, it might take care of water, electric, gas, and everything else.
Cable, trash,
right. Over the years, what's happened is, rather than put the fees up, what they've done is they pulled some of them services out.
Okay.
And what's happened is, people on fixed incomes who live in condominiums, it's really hurting them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see with some of the HOAs that we manage. It's the people that are on fixed income that are really suffering. I mean, you've only got to look in Florida. But the first nail in the coffin was the mid-rise that collapsed.
Yeah,
all right, so
crazy.
that pushed up all the insurance. But I mean, on a yearly basis, the insurance is going up 20-30%.
Yeah, so we used to use 0.8, 0.75 depending on the credit score, and now we had to tell everyone we're going to start using 1.15 to 1.25 on the insurance estimate that we do when we're pre-approving.
Well, and one of the other issues that you've got with homeowners associations is, you've got to get that quorum. It's so difficult to get that quorum together and the homeowners together, and then I'm involved in one property at the moment where I'm an investor and they are anti-investor in that property. Now, my opinion is an investor should be responsible for all their tenants. If there's any fines, it goes to the investor, and then it's up to the investor
on how they disperse it.
No, it's up to the investor to control their tenants.
So
if not you evict them. But
that's a pain in the butt already now too.
Well, it's not that. If you're experienced in what you're doing, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, you can evict somebody, but the truth of the matter is, why should, if they are, but I think there's a complete misconception. Because they're a tenant doesn't make them a bad person or as less a person as an owner. I've been into some owner occupied units and they've been in terrible condition. I mean, we're talking rat infested, we're talking paint hanging off walls, of some properties. And, I've had some tenants that have lived immaculately.
It all depends on.
But I don't think you should put that label on a tenant, but I think the management companies, there's some management companies that are very, HOAs, I should say, that are very anti-tenant. And I think that doesn't help the situation. Now, how do you be anti-tenant? You
Yeah, it would be.
put, how do you think they do it?
I don't know. It's got to be illegal. You know,
It's
like
not illegal, you see.
so, like in my beach house neighborhood, you have to keep your.
Okay, so you've got, all right, I'll tell you how they make it. I'll tell you how they squeeze you.
uh,
Every time you rent the elevator, you have to pay $250. Every time you renew a lease, you've got to pay the HOA $395. Every time you have a new tenant move in, they have to pay $595.
So just nickel and diming you.
So what happens is every time you have a new tenant, they've got to pay $595 plus $250 to
Right.
rent an elevator. So they've got to pay $745 just to move into the property.
So what if you say I'm never going to use the elevator, stairs only?
I don't think that would work.
No. Now you living on the 20th floor, you're going to use stairs only every day, groceries and all. Yeah, you're right. That's just.
It's wrong. It's wrong. And I think personally, I think it's a form of,
Well, how do you think we can fix it?
I don't think you can. I think what you actually do is, I think it's a form of unfair housing, personally. How you fix it, I don't know. What's your thoughts, Kay?
Okay, do you rent or own?
I rent.
Okay. How should we fix it?
The renting crisis? Wow.
Wow. All right. Do we have enough time, people? We don't know.
It's very.
I don't think I wasn't referring to the renting crisis. I was talking to the stigma that renters seem to get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a stigma to it. And in Europe, they've got they used to have a program where you could buy half of your house and you could rent half of your house.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of that is that people would look after the houses more. And at the same time, what would happen is there would be more, there'd be more motivation for people to look after their houses. And it would be in the same area as people that own their houses.
Yeah, that's why whenever I try to move to different places, I always look at condos because of the fact that I know that most of the time when you're renting a condo, most of the people that live in the condominiums, they own them. So they're more likely to take care of their condos. There's less crime, you know, because they care a little bit more, even if the places are, you know, even if people rent out their condos and things like that,
Well,
it's still.
where you live, the owner occupancy ratio is about 52% to 48%. When we took it on, it wasn't.
Yeah. It was
You
more
know,
just rented.
and there's very few condominiums in Houston at the moment where
People are
the
owning.
owner, there's more landlords.
Mhm. But even so, it's still one of those things where it's like people are still taking better care of it than in
Right.
an apartment complex.
And I think a lot of it as well is I mean, we tried to do a $25 increase on a HOA and we got shouted down because that's $25 per month.
Yeah.
So we could
For a year.
increase some of the repair. No, per month.
For a year,
And we got
25%
shouted down because, well, I don't want my HOA fees to increase. Well, things have, I mean, you're looking at $300 a year.
Yeah.
What can you get for $300? And we wanted to do it to increase, you know.
You can get this jacket,
Jeff
$289.
said renters aren't the problem. And then he said HOAs are so difficult to manage because of the various personalities, likes and dislikes.
I could
Renters
not.
are the
I could not
problem
agree
at some point. Some of them just suck, and that's what makes us have to increase our rent because we have to go in and fix it after.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave us high and dry mid of the lease, and then we might find out 30, 60 days after they left
Well,
that they left.
you say that, but the biggest mistake agents make is they do the credit, they run the credit, and they don't call the previous landlords.
Yeah, you got to go through references.
All right, and that's the biggest mistake that agents make. They don't call the previous landlords, and what happens is then there was a big scam going on in Houston maybe 12 months ago, and they wasn't calling the previous landlords, and that they can help you more than anything else. Now, sometimes you'll get some landlords, because they want to get rid of a tenant, that'll turn around and say, "Oh, they're the best tenants I've ever had in my life," just because they want to get rid of a tenant. You know, they want them out and everything else. But you know, just treat people like you expect to be treated. You know, but unfortunately, some tenants don't get that.
What?
I've had an ex move out of my apartment, but I wanted him out so bad that I pretended to be the landlord, and I just rented out. I said that I rented out the room to him, that I rented out one of the rooms to him in my apartment, and yeah, this was like 9 years ago, but it was, I wanted him out. I mean, he had to go somewhere else. I don't know. But they said owners who don't do the things they need to do to get a good tenant, a lot of landlords only look at tenants as dollar signs. Owners not doing their due diligence is a
They
huge
don't.
issue.
I 100% with Jeff.
Yeah. That's
For
great.
for true transparency, Jeff is one of our property managers, and basically he manages HOAs, and he probably spends 75% of his days reading the declarations of different, because they're all a bit different. But basically, that is a very, very valid point. They don't use an agent, they don't do their due diligence, so they get tenants that we get problems with. And it really doesn't help the situation, to be perfectly honest. And I think in relation to, you know, getting good tenants, if you can get good tenants, this is to the homeowners, then you hopefully you get a better community. But I mean, we get more problems from people walking their dogs and not picking up their poop, and we get more problems from people just kicking their dogs out, doing their poop, and then running back in when they finished. And then, you know, people look at us, and what do? We turn around and say, you know what, take a picture of your dog taking the poop. Because it's difficult to prove it. These are the problems that you're dealing with, and people get very, very emotional. You know, you get homeowners that don't like the contractors that are sent out to do work, and they're not paying for the contractors. Well, I want so and so doing my work. Well, if that's the case, you pay for the work.
Mm-hmm.
You
if
know,
not, I pay for it.
So
you know, that makes sense. I mean, whoever's paying for it usually should get to pick. Isn't it the same thing where the seller pays for the title insurance? They get to pick what title company goes in. Like, same thing.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so is that it? Is that a wrap? That's all we got for today, folks. So next week you're in Detroit, correct?
Let me see my calendar real quick.
I thought you was in Detroit next week.
I think I'm there the 27th, 8th, and 9th. Double check this bad boy. Yeah, it looks like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm in Detroit.
So just to pre-warn everybody, next week you only got me, guys. We'll probably
It's gonna be a great show. He's awesome.
We'll probably we will probably get one of the agents up to discuss something.
Agents up all the time now.
So, you know, and we'll just. I actually was speaking to somebody in the week about coming up and discussing something.
We should start bringing in some insurance people in, maybe some title people. Just have some fun with it.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll wrap that up until next week. I will see you. If you want to get hold of Chase, how do they get hold of you?
832-630-7467. If you're interested in getting in the mortgage industry or have some questions about if you can be pre-approved, give me a call. We have a lot of down payment assistance programs. You don't need a down payment to buy a home. That's one of the misses that everyone's not realizing right now. There's so many programs. Beginning of the year, grants are full as far as the county money, so there shouldn't be any issues of waiting for it.
And if you want to get hold of me, you can contact me through Century 21 Olympian on good old-fashioned Google. You can contact me through one of my agents, or you can contact me through social media on C21 Olympian TX. So until same time, same channel next week, as they say, peace, health, happiness, and may good happen to all people that are good.
I agree.
Take care.